Planning a trip to Disney World can be very fun and exciting, but throughout the planning process, you may have some questions that arise as you are preparing to go to Disney World. The one thing that I absolutely love about my channel is after I make a video or after people figure out that I go to Disney World, I love being able to have the opportunity to help you guys throughout your planning process whenever you are going to the Disney parks, because I'll often receive a lot of comments or questions after I make a Disney tips video or just a video talking about Disney World in general. So I do receive a lot of questions as far as going to Disney World, planning to go to Disney World, and there are some commonly asked questions that I get whenever it comes to going to the Disney parks. And what I wanted to do tonight is I wanted to specifically have a Disney World question and answer session for you guys, because I do receive a lot of questions whenever it comes to going to the Disney parks, and I really wanted to have a time where we could just talk and answer some questions that maybe you guys have if you have a Disney World vacation coming up, or if you have one that you know you are planning on going on. I want to be able to have the time to answer some questions for you guys whenever it comes to going to Disney World. So I am very, very excited to answer your Disney World questions tonight. If it's your first time tuning in tonight, or if you are watching here on the live or the replay, I want to say thank you guys so much for being here. This video is a part of our weekly live stream series that we do here on the Megan Moves channel. We are usually live here at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays, where we talk about some type of Disney topic to help you on your future or current Disney World vacation. So I'm super pumped tonight to answer any questions that you have whenever it comes to going to Disney World. So before we hop into it, I want to say hi to everyone that is here on the live stream. So we're going to say hi to Disney World is my happy place. Hello there. Thank you so much for being here tonight. An obsessed Rangers fan. Hello. Thank you for being here. Doofs, I am back from Hershey Park. So if you guys have seen some shorts that I've been posting recently, this past weekend, I went over to Hershey Park, located in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So we are kind of branching out whenever it comes to theme parks these days, but we had a great visit on Friday. I'm going to be posting the vlogs from that adventure. So thank you, Doofs, for asking. And I'm very excited to share that with you guys. So it was kind of interesting to get a different taste, literally a different taste on a different theme park. So it was kind of cool and refreshing to go somewhere else. And also, not Carol Pink. Hello, thank you guys so much for being here. And I want to say thank you to everyone that's always here before the live stream happens. I love interacting with you guys in the chat before we get into the live. So just wanted to throw that out there and say hi to you guys. But also, like I said, this is a question and answer session. I do have 5 questions that I want to answer that I get frequently, just so that way we have something to chit chat about tonight. But if at any point you have a question that you'd like to ask during the live stream, feel free to put it in the chat. I know we've got Doofs there. They are always so helpful with answering questions if I miss it, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to look at the chat really quick. So Disney World is my happy place. I'm going to Walt Disney World in November. Any tips for crowds? Very good question. I do commonly get questions as far as crowds go, but yes, usually as far as November goes, November's a pretty good time as far as crowds because it's before the holiday season. Usually getting into December is when crowds are going to start getting very, very busy because everybody likes to go during the Christmas season. So usually crowds aren't super bad as far as November goes. I would say the earlier the better in November is definitely probably best to go. If you know what time you're going in November, definitely let me know in the chat. And let me see if Doofs, you were saying here, crowds are not as bad as the news portrays it to be. So yeah, I would say usually leading up to Christmas is definitely whenever it gets the busiest as far as the holiday season or the end of the year goes. But usually November isn't as bad. So you definitely have a good time that you're planning on going, which I'm excited that you have a trip coming up. And yeah, so Doofs, was going to mention that too. My background is very different because I am still in the process, even though I've been home for a month, I'm still in the process of getting a background going for my filming and live streaming. And we've got a lot going on back here. So I definitely wanted to have a more elegant background for you guys. So hopefully, Disney World is my happy place. Hopefully that's a good answer to your question as far as crowds. It can be a hit or miss sometimes. I mean, we were expecting earlier this year in January to be the off season, but that definitely was not the case. So, it was a little bit busier earlier this year than we were expecting. So, it might be, oh, so you're saying the 20th is when you're going. Okay, so you might have some crowds as far as the Thanksgiving goes. You might have some crowds, but definitely it's probably going to be a good time for you to be able to go. So I'm excited that you're going to be able to check that out. And you're going the weekend of November 11th for the Christmas party, Deuce. That's awesome. The Christmas party, I am so excited for that to be coming to Disney World. I have not been able to check that out yet. We'll have to see if we're going to be able to do that this year. But usually November 11th should be good. And I'm curious because as far as party days go for Magic Kingdom, maybe you guys saw some of the videos that I was able to do. But the one thing about party days is usually they aren't too busy whenever during party days at Magic Kingdom. Sometimes the parks aren't as busy because the park is closing earlier, which is going to get into one of the questions that I have here. So that should be a good time to visit too. If you're planning a trip to Disney World, maybe think about going on a party day because it might not be as busy. So I want to say hi to Two Broke Mice. Hello, thank you so much for being here. And Lorna, hello, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks, guys, for being here on the live. So those were a couple of questions that we had in the chat, but we're going to go ahead and hop into some of them that I had here, and feel free to keep the questions coming. So the first question that I get a lot is, what are MagicBands? So if you've ever visited Disney World, you may see some guests have a bracelet on their wrist whenever they are going to the Disney parks. That is a MagicBand that you can wear to Disney World. So essentially, this is what one of the MagicBands look like. So MagicBands are essentially something that can help you whenever you're getting into and out of the park. This can act as your admission. So if you've seen maybe the scanners that you scan into and out of Magic Kingdom or any of the other Disney parks, this is the thing that you can use to get in and out of the park. So MagicBands act as your park admission. If you are staying at a Disney World resort, you can use it to get into and out of your resort hotel room. Or if you are staying on Disney property, you can also use it as a payment option. So you can do kind of like a scanning method as far as payment goes. There are some different types of MagicBands. So there's a regular MagicBand, and then there's the MagicBand Plus, which we can go into details if you're interested. But that's what the MagicBands are. They are a separate cost if you're wanting to go to Disney World and use them. The regular MagicBands are cheaper than the MagicBand Pluses. But another question that I get as far as MagicBands go are, do I need to purchase a MagicBand in order to go to Disney World? The answer to that is no, you do not have to have a MagicBand. You can simply use a park ticket to get into and out of the parks. It's very easy. You can go to guest services and you can get a park ticket, which is free. Or another thing that they have is the Magic Mobile Pass, which you can actually just use your mobile device to get you into and out of the parks. You can use your Apple Watch, which is super cool. So there's many different ways to actually be able to get into and out of the parks that you can kind of decide which is best for you. As far as MagicBand goes, I know a lot of people have the regular MagicBands. The MagicBand Plus is the newest option that you can go for whenever you're going to the parks. It's a little bit more expensive, but it does have some interactive features that you can check out whenever you are in the parks. So definitely just keep that in mind whenever you're going to Disney World. There's many ways that you can get into and out of the parks, and definitely just figure out what option is best for you whenever you are planning your trip there. So hopefully that answered a question. If you are not familiar with MagicBands, or if you were wondering what they are, or when guests are walking around and have this bracelet on, that's what a MagicBand is. You can purchase them online before your Disney World vacation. If you're a Disney Resort guest, you do get a discount on them, and you can order them before your trip. You can have them delivered to your house, or you can purchase them at the Disney World stores and actually in the parks. So hopefully that answered your questions. If you had any about MagicBands, let me scroll up through and see if I missed any. Hey, Gabe, sorry I missed your comment here. What do you think about the upcoming price increase for Genie Plus? So a friend and I were actually talking about the price increases a couple of days ago. I need to look at them in general. I know I personally have never used Genie Plus. I've learned some, or I've heard some, pros and cons of using it for sure. I am not surprised that there is a price increase, considering when you go to like Universal, and I just went to Hershey Park this past weekend. Their versions of the, Lightning Lane, Hershey Park has the fast track, and Universal has the express lane. It can be sometimes more expensive to purchase both of those options compared to an actual park ticket. So I think when we went to Hershey Park this past weekend, it was $50 a ticket, but with trying to get the fast track pass, I think it was like $100 to actually purchase the fast track. So comparing Genie Plus to other theme park options, Genie Plus is less expensive, but I'm not surprised that it is becoming more expensive, considering, it is something that maybe a lot more people are deciding to use, and they want to make it more of an exclusive option whenever going to the parks. So I'm not surprised that the price is increasing, but we'll see what it ends up going to, I guess, is what I have to think about it. So, and next time I go down to the parks, maybe I'll have to try to use it for the first time, because I still have not used it, but I have heard some pros and cons of actually being able to use Genie Plus. So hopefully that answers your question. Maybe it's a roundabout way of answering it, but that's my thought on it. So let's see. Um, okay, so that's why I did a park reservation for Hollywood Studios, not Magic Kingdom, because the 22nd is a party day in November. So that is a very good way to go about it. And that is kind of a good segue into my second question that I want to answer here. Thank you, Disney World is my happy place. I want to talk about quickly visiting Disney World during events. So this question or this comment kind of stems from a comment I had gotten on a previous live video that we did here. But what I wanted to talk about is, whenever you're planning your Disney World vacation, one thing that I really recommend doing is researching what events or things are going to be happening at Disney World during the time that you are actually visiting the Disney parks. So there are festivals that happen at Epcot. There are Run Disney events that happen down at Disney World. There are special holiday events, like we've got Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. We've got the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party that's coming up. There's different events that can happen whenever you go to Disney World or during certain times that you go to the Disney parks. And the reason why I think you should be aware of this is because sometimes there are things that either are or aren't offered during those time periods. So hours may change. There may be some offerings that aren't available. And the one reason why I wanted to bring this up was Georgia Girl 1012 made a comment about going down to the parks, and she and her family went to Magic Kingdom on a day that the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party was happening. And she was not aware that during the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party days, the parks close early. She knew about that, but she didn't realize that the fireworks weren't going to be happening that night, and that the last Festival of Fantasy parade wasn't going to be happening in the evening. So the reason why I wanted to bring that up is I definitely recommend checking what time the hours are going to be whenever you go to the Disney parks. See if there's any events that are going to be happening, so that way you are fully aware of what's going to be going on when you're at the Disney parks. So that way, you don't get to the end of your day and figure out that you have to leave early or that something's not going to be offered. I always like to look and see what's going to be happening, and what time the parks are going to be open, so that way you can be fully prepared for that. So hopefully that makes sense as far as events go. And that question just kind of stemmed from the comment from Georgia Girl, because she wasn't necessarily prepared or didn't really know about that ahead of time. So just to keep yourself fully aware whenever you are doing the planning process at Disney World, try to figure out what dates you're going to be going and if anything is happening during that time, so that way you are fully aware. So let me 1 second. I just have to adjust something on my camera. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to go back and hop in the chat and see if we had any questions. Let's see here. All right, so This is a good question, Lorna. Thank you for asking. So, do many rides have single rider lines? That is a very good question, and that's one thing that I wish Disney definitely had a lot more of, are single rider lines. So, I think there's only three rides at Disney World that have single rider lines. So, there is the Millennium Falcon ride at Hollywood Studios. There is the Aerosmith ride, the Rock and Roller Coaster has a single rider line. And what is the last one that I am forgetting that has a single rider line? Um, there is one other that has a single rider line, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Maybe it's Test Track. It's Test Track. The nice thing about single rider lines at Disney World is usually they don't have a very long wait time. So that is definitely very good to take advantage of whenever you're going to the Disney parks. But as far as single rider lines goes, there's not a ton that they have at Disney World. I wish they had more. They are so convenient at Universal. Whenever we go to Universal, we love using those. But unfortunately, they do not have a lot whenever it comes to going to Disney World. So let me one moment. I am going to hop off very quickly. My contacts are flipping all around and I can't see very well. So I'm going to switch my glasses. If you guys give me a moment, I will be right back. All right, everyone. I'm sorry. We're having some technical difficulties tonight. I think, Deuce, you were saying something about my mic and everything. So, yeah, like I said, this is going to be definitely more of a laid back live stream. Hopefully, you guys have me and let me know if we're still having issues with the mic and everything. But um, yeah, you know about having to switch glasses. Thank you for being here also, by the way. But yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, when I use my contacts for the live stream, this is just a side note, sometimes they go all crazy and I can't see as well. So we're just gonna stick to the glasses and we're gonna see how this goes. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Hopefully you guys can hear and everything's going well with the microphone. But let me hop back in the chat and just see if I can regroup with you guys. But um let's see, Lorna, you were asking about can I buy at AT&T SIM card? Are you talking about for your phone? Is that something that you need for your phone? I would think that you can go to AT&T to do that, or if you can connect to Wi-Fi, maybe you could use WhatsApp to communicate whenever you are over here. But definitely let me know more about that question if you so that way we can help answer that for you. I'm going to take this down. Sorry, guys, we are just really having a rough one today. So let's see. All right. Doof, sorry if I missed some of your comments here. Hey, Emily, thank you for being here. And all right. So let's see here. Do you have to stay at a Disney hotel if you want to go to Disney? No, that is a very good question, Madeline. You do not have to stay at a Disney hotel if you want to go to Disney. It's a very popular thing to stay at Disney World whenever you're going to the Disney parks, but it's not something that you need to do whenever you're going to Disney World. I know I had a staycation with my friend in May, and we stayed at and an Airbnb, which was very nice. So that was off property. Usually it is a lot cheaper if you want to stay off property. There are different good neighbor hotels that you can stay at. There's different hotels in the Disney World area that you can definitely check out, but you do not have to stay at a Disney hotel whenever you're going to Disney World. Now, there are some perks to staying at a Disney World hotel. You can get in a half hour early for early entry. You can use the Disney you can use Disney transportation. You don't have to be staying at Disney World to use Disney transportation, but it is sometimes nice to stay on Disney property. You know, it's very convenient, but there are places around Disney World that you can stay as well. So hopefully that answers your question. This is just a background. I am at home, but this is just a background that we're using for tonight. And we did talk a little bit, remember to smile. We did talk a little bit earlier about the price increase for Genie Plus. I think personally, as far as Genie Plus goes, it all just depends on what you are wanting to do or what you want out of your Disney World visit. If you don't have a ton of time in the Disney parks, it may be nice to get Genie Plus. So that way you can fully experience the parks. But for me as a pass holder, I've never actually used Genie Plus before because, you know, I'm able to visit the parks frequently. I don't necessarily really worry too much about going into the lightning lanes. So I think it just depends on, you know, if you don't have a lot of time in the parks, if you really want to maximize your time, maybe you want to think about getting the Genie Plus. But it's definitely up to personal preference, I think. If I were to go down to Disney World and I didn't have a ton of time there, maybe that's something that I would think about doing. But I think it just depends on what your trip is looking like and what you're wanting to get out of it, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers your question there. Yes, Deuce, I'll remind you to tell me about the jewelry for sure. And let's see. Yeah, Disney World is my happy place. I like this question. Do you recommend park hopper when there is a Christmas or Halloween party? Whenever it comes to going to Magic Kingdom and there is a Christmas or Halloween party, I definitely recommend having a park hopper ticket for that day because usually the park closes early because the event is going to be starting. So I think for Mickey's Not So Scary, the park closed at 6 in the evening because the party was going to be starting at 7. So that is 6 o'clock that you have to get out of the park if you do not have an admission to go to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. I recommend having a park hopper ticket because in our experience, whenever we went to Magic Kingdom on the days that there was a party, the park was not super busy at all. It was a lot, you know, less crowded, which was very nice because not a lot of people were buying necessarily single park day tickets. So wait times were a lot lower, which was very nice. So on those days, I would recommend having a park hopper ticket. Go ahead, spend the day at Magic Kingdom during the day. And then once the party starts, go ahead and hop to a different park and enjoy the rest of your day there. So that is a very good question. That's what I would do personally if I were going to Disney World and I was going on a party day, but not actually going to the party. That is what I recommend. So hopefully that answers your question there and that makes sense. If not, let me know if you need some clarification, but definitely that's what I recommend as far as party day goes. We had a great time going to Magic Kingdom on the party days. We were able to hop on and off rides. It was not as crowded. So maybe that's something that you want to take advantage of for sure. So the third thing, the third question that I get a lot whenever it comes to Disney World is what to do at Disney World. So this is definitely a loaded question, but I get it a lot whenever people are, you know, going for the first time or they're trying to figure out what are the best things to do at Disney World. And since there's so much to see and do, one thing that I recommend is as far as starting to kind of tackle that question is, you know, realize that there are 4 different theme parks when going to Disney World. There's Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot. There's Disney Springs as well. There's lots of resorts that you can go and check out. I recommend definitely doing research. If you know which parks you are going to, research the parks in detail, figure out what kind of rides they have, what snack options or food options they have, figure out what the entertainment is looking like. And then from there, once you get a good picture of what the parks have to offer, make a list of some of the top 5 things that you want to experience whenever you are in the park. So that way you know exactly what you want to do and you can kind of hit the ground running whenever you get to the parks. That's what I recommend. And then after that, once you figure out what you want to do, or if you're still kind of trying to figure out what there is to do at Disney World, that's where I recommend going to YouTube or going online and looking at vlogs and videos of people actually doing the things that you are wanting to do to see if it's something that you really want to check out. Make sure it's a ride that you really want to do. If there's a long line, make sure that it's, something worth standing in line for. That's kind of what I recommend. When I get that question, in a comment on a video, I'll kind of give some of the things that I like to do as a response, but I will always recommend checking out vlogs and videos to kind of get the full picture of what things are looking like whenever going to Disney World. Let's see, would you get a stroller for a 7-year-old? I think that would, I've definitely seen a lot of people have a wide range of ages that they use strollers for. Of course, they're very popular when going to Disney World. And Doofs, I think that you answer the question really well. Depends, on your child. You know them best. It is nice having the stroller because, yes, I think you're saying might be good for a nap for sure. Or, there is a ton of walking that you would do at Disney World. Maybe your kids might not be used to that much walking, or maybe they've never, done that kind of day before. So there's a lot of walking. There's a ton of, standing that goes on whenever going to Disney World. A stroller might be nice for some breaks, or you could just take breaks in general during your day. So just kind of, let them know what kind of day they're going to be looking at whenever going to Disney World. Maybe get some practice days going if you can go on walks leading up to your trip, or just kind of give them an idea of how much activity goes into a Disney World day. But Doofs, I really liked your answer there, and that's what I would recommend too. Know your kid, or think about what your kid might look like whenever it comes to a full day in the Disney parks, because it can be a lot that goes into a day at Disney World for sure. So if you guys are just hopping in here, Janelle, hey there, I see you're in here. Thank you so much for being here. We are doing a question and answer live stream today. So if you have any questions at all throughout the stream, feel free to just put them in the comments. We're going to be answering all your Disney World questions tonight. We've got some lovely mods in the chat that are happy to help out as well. So I have 2 other questions left that we're just going to kind of talk about in general that I have on my list here. But like I said, feel free to keep putting questions on in the chat. So the 4th thing that I always get is how to plan for weather, or, what is the weather at Disney World? This is something that is a very important thing to look at whenever you're actually going to the Disney parks. This kind of determines how your day is going to go and what kind of clothes you're going to wear. What I like to recommend is when you're planning for your Disney vacation, look a month out or a week out and see what the weather is actually looking like for your visit. This will give you a good idea of what you need to pack. If you're visiting during the summertime, it could be very rainy during your visit. So you might want to think about having some rain gear on hand. Think about ponchos, umbrellas, raincoats that maybe you need to bring, what kind of shoes you need to wear in case they get wet, bringing multiple pairs of shoes. I always like thinking about checking the weather a week before you actually visit Disney World. And then when you're actually at the parks, always look at the weather the day of your visit. Like, think about when you're getting up in the morning, check what the weather is looking like, so that way you know how to pack your bag for the day or what to wear for the day. Usually, as far as, what to wear or seasons at Disney World, during the summertime, it gets so hot. Maybe you've experienced it before, or maybe you're, planning a Disney World vacation during the summertime. It gets very, very hot. It can be very strenuous going to the parks during that time. I recommend wearing very light and breathable clothing. Maybe even bring extra pairs of clothes because you may get sweaty because it's so hot during the summertime. Make sure that you're wearing comfortable pairs of shoes. During the summertime, take AC breaks, just take breaks in general, so that way you can recharge and make sure you have enough energy to go about your day for the whole day. And then during the Florida winter, this time definitely catches guests off guard. I know it caught me off guard my first winter in Florida. It can get surprisingly chilly down at the Disney parks once December rolls around and into the first of the year. It's not uncommon for it to be around 40 degrees at times. It can be very, very chilly. So I always like bringing layers when it's cold at Disney World. This will help you to keep from having to run into the gift shops and get a jacket or a sweatshirt and spend a lot of money that you weren't necessarily wanting to spend. I have seen guests wear hats and gloves whenever it's cold at Disney World. So, all that to say, definitely check the weather before you're going to the Disney parks. See what other people are wearing and make sure that you are fully prepared. So that way you can, make the most of your visit because, you've done a lot of planning going into it. You want to make sure you can make the full experience of your day, and planning for the weather and what you want to wear is a huge part of being able to do that. So Deuce, thank you. I think you're answering some questions here. Thank you for that. And let's see. And Justin, you learned that lesson this past January. I know we learned that lesson as well. I think it was late January. We were at Universal. It was a family trip that we went on. It was so cold, so windy. My family was so caught off guard of how cold it was actually down in Florida. It really can, it can catch you off guard. And that's something that you want to be able to be prepared for ahead of time. So I definitely recommend just making sure that, you're prepared ahead of time because you can learn the hard way. So thank you, Justin, for that comment. It was your first time ever. Yeah, definitely. I can see that. I know it caught me off guard. So, and Lorna, I do get questions about rain during December. It's not uncommon for it to rain, but it definitely doesn't rain as much as it does compared to the summertime. So I think you'll be good as far as rain goes. It's just kind of the wind and the chill or the cold that you can get whenever it comes to going in December. So, it never hurts to have rain gear on hand because you never know when it's going to rain, but it won't rain as much as it does during the summertime. So good question. I'm excited that you have a trip coming up. And Justin, I'm excited for you to be able to go back in January. That's awesome. Congrats. And the last question that I have here that I wanted to answer, if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But the last question is, should I get a single park day ticket or a park hopper ticket? And just like what to do at Disney World, this can be a very loaded question as well. But what I want to say first is, what are both of the tickets? What goes into both of the tickets? As far as single park day tickets, that means when you purchase that, you get to go to one of the Disney World parks per day. So say you have a single park day ticket and you go to Magic Kingdom is the only park that you can go to. But whenever you have a park hopper ticket, you can park hop from one park to any of the other Disney World parks. After 2 p.m. is when park hopping happens at Disney World. So that is very nice that, you can visit a lot more parks whenever it comes to the park hopper ticket. But my recommendation is, if you have a lot of time down at Disney World, or if you have an extended amount of time for your visit, single park day tickets are what I recommend. If you have a week at Disney World, I recommend, and you're wanting to visit all the parks, I recommend having a single park day ticket for visiting each of the parks. There's so much to see and do at each of the Disney World parks. You can definitely spend a whole day at each of them, especially if it's your first time visiting the parks. The thing about park hopper tickets is, or just park hopping in general, is it does take a lot of time to park hop from each of the Disney World parks, and that can kind of eat into your day when going to Disney World. So it may take, if you're going from Epcot to Hollywood Studios and you're using the Skyliner, it may still take about 20 minutes or a half hour to actually be able to get to the other parks. So if you have a lot of time, I recommend having single park day tickets. But if you don't have a lot of time going to Disney World, say you're just in the Orlando area and you want to visit Disney World and you only have a little bit of time, that's where I think park hopper tickets come in handy. So that way you can kind of get the most of your time at Disney World and experience a lot of the parks. So that's what I recommend as far as park hopper tickets and single park day tickets go. Take a look at your visit, how long you have to spend there, what you want to do at each of the parks, and kind of go from there as far as choosing which park ticket to get. So hopefully that makes sense as far as park hopper tickets goes. And let's see. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Deuce. Yeah, not open until 2 p.m. So must decide if that's a good value for you. Yeah, definitely. So whenever the park opens that you are going to in the morning, that is the park that you have to stay at until 2 p.m. And then that's when you can park hop after 2 p.m. to any of the other Disney World parks. So yes, thank you for that, Deuce, definitely. And let's see here. Lorna, you're asking, are tickets any cheaper to buy off property hotels or tourist information centers? So I have seen some sites. I think it's the maybe DVC rental store has some tickets that you can purchase that sometimes they're discounted. Usually, I always recommend just going with tickets sold by Disney. That's usually the best bet because some of these other tickets, you never know where the tickets are coming from or how that's going to work. So I don't usually recommend getting tickets from anywhere other than Disney just for, safety or just warning reasons. I have seen things where you can get them at other places, but usually I don't recommend that. Just for, just to be better safe than sorry, I guess. So let's see. And Deuce, I see you're answering a question there too. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, usually other places are scams. Yeah, that's what I've kind of seen as well. So yeah, thank you for that, Deuce. And let's see here. So if you were going with your family and could only go to 3 parks, which would you skip? So this is definitely personal opinion. Other Disney lovers, Doofs and Janelle, if you're here, feel free to put your answer in the chat. For me personally, if I were going to my family and going with my family and I could go to all 3 parks but skip one, personally, I would skip Magic Kingdom, or no, what am I saying? I would skip Animal Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is my favorite. I would skip Animal Kingdom. For me personally, Animal Kingdom is a great park. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Pandora. I love Flight of Passage. It's one of my favorite Disney World rides. But for me, Animal Kingdom doesn't have as much value or, things that you can check out to really make a full day worth it at the Disney parks. That is my personal opinion. I've had a lot of people that love Animal Kingdom. There's the safari, there are a lot of animals there. It's a really great park. Expedition Everest is there. It's a great roller coaster. But for me personally, I have been able to get into Animal Kingdom at the beginning of the day, and by noon, I am completely done and ready to park hop to a different park. So for me, Animal Kingdom is great for kids. There's a safari and there's a lot of great characters, but Animal Kingdom is the park that I would personally skip. I love Magic Kingdom. There's so much there. I love all of the rides. The parades are great. Hollywood Studios is fun. It's got Galaxy's Edge, a lot of great rides. Toy Story Land is amazing. And Epcot is just such a big park. There's so much to experience there. So that is why I would kind of skip Animal Kingdom, but that is my personal opinion. And Doofs, let's see what your response was to that. Skip Animal Kingdom, love that park, but not a must do. Definitely agree. I love Animal Kingdom, but it's probably of the 4 parks one of my least favorite personally. But I know other people would disagree, so that is kind of my opinion. So hopefully, remember to smile. Hopefully that answers your question. And let's see here. So Lorna, you were asking, would like to visit Kennedy Space Center, but I'm a little confused. Are there different visitor centers needing different entrance tickets? Where is the IMAX? So as far as these Kennedy Space Center goes, in my experience, when I last went, all you need to do is purchase I think it's just the Space Center ticket, the visitor center ticket, and that includes the bus tour, and the IMAX is actually at the visitor center complex. So all of that, I believe, is included. So you don't need to buy different entrance tickets. I would have to look online again, but in my experience, that's how it was for all of the times that I had gone to the Space Center. So hopefully that answers your question there. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But I think we are going to finish up with the live stream for tonight. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me in the technical difficulties. Hopefully these were able to answer some of your common Disney World questions, or, if this kind of raised some questions that maybe you have. Maybe I was able to answer them, or based on other questions that were asked. Hopefully those were helpful. I hope you guys have a blast on your upcoming Disney World vacations. If you were or if this is your first time visiting the live stream or watching on the replay, I want to invite you to come and hang out with us next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I already have our topic for next week. I am on the ball and very excited because next week we're going to be talking about 10 things to know before visiting a theme park. This past weekend, like I said, we visited Hershey Park, located in Hershey, Pennsylvania. That was my first time visiting a theme park. Well, I had been to Hershey Park before, but that was my first time visiting a new theme park in a while. So it was very cool to go with a new perspective and kind of try to figure out all the new things again. And it's all fresh in my mind, and I'm excited to share with you guys things to know before going to a theme park. If it's your first time going to Disney World, I think these will be helpful. Going to Universal, any of those parks, I'm excited to bring that live stream to you guys. So that's going to be our topic for next week. But I just want to say thank you to everybody watching on the live tonight. Like I said, thank you for bearing with the technical difficulties. Hopefully these were able to answer some of your questions. If you have any other questions and you're watching on the replay, feel free to put them down in the comment section below. I'd love to be able to help out and answer any of your questions. And with that, we'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.